Great Goonan Podcast. I am the Great Goonan, and this is Mr. Don Sill.
What's up, everybody?
All right, so here we are. This is the Great Goonan Podcast. This is episode 2, but it's not really episode 2. This podcast of mine I created to not only spread greatness, but to, do interviews, be funny, be silly, but also to sometimes pick out things from pop culture that I grew up with that aren't as popular as they should be and celebrate them and re-examine them, including movies. And that was a subset of my series, which I was calling Artsy Fartsy. The very first episode of the Great Goonan Podcast was an artsy fartsy about a movie, and we were going to do another one last time too, and we recorded it, and it was banned. It was blocked. I have been censored. I'm a political prisoner.
Yes.
So
yeah, it was crazy, man.
I was gonna do this time around. I was going to celebrate the movie Midnight Madness from 1980 that I always loved, that you and I both always loved, and we did a whole episode on it. And I'm not allowed to show it; it's blocked. But we even sang the theme song with sparklies and everything. We were jumping around. It was fun,
nice.
Silly.
Yeah.
Dare I say, sexy?
And who would have known that Midnight Madness was such a national treasure that it would be safeguarded by Disney?
That's what happened, man. I got blocked. I got censored by Disney, by friggin' Disney, man.
And it's not like you were doing like Toy Story or you were doing like, one of the princess movies or something. It was Midnight Madness.
I was celebrating. I was celebrating the movie. I was bringing people to their attention, so they would like
exactly.
it. But
it's a forgotten gem.
Yeah, but Don, I have to tell you something. Disney has blocked the episode pending a dispute. We'll see if it ever comes up. But here's the thing: this is not about Midnight Madness. Disney has had a problem with me for years, actually, and they've been always taking it out on me. Because a few years back, I snuck in front of the line at the Pirates of the Caribbean at Disney World, and they've never forgiven me. So this is, and they've always tried to hurt me professionally with it too. No matter what I do, if I have to do a Disney project, they try to stop me. Remember, there was a new reboot of the DuckTales that came out a few years ago. Remember that?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I auditioned for the lead, and they didn't give it to me, even though I was great. And I was totally method. Look, I was awesome. Look at me. I was great.
You look just like Scrooge McDuck, right?
I was totally method, and they screwed me over, man. They screwed me over.
Go figure.
But that's Disney. That's the way they do everything. But you know what? I put the word out. I got a lot of words of support from a lot of people. I got a lot of emails of support. Even I'm going to read some emails that I got here that you're going to love here. Okay, so here's one email that I got here. This is from R2-D2 from the Star Wars movies.
Wow.
And now he works for Disney because Disney owns everything, right?
Yes.
So this is no small potatoes that he came out and he said I could read this publicly, okay? So in support of me, he said, diddly-diddly-dee, squeaky, squeaky, squeak, squeak, ooh, ooh. And those are tough words coming from R2-D2. That's
wow,
creative.
I can't believe he actually went public with that.
He's very courageous for saying those things.
Wow.
He's been a loyal friend of me for years because one time on a bus in Flatbush Avenue, he shut down and I had the quarters to bring him back to life. So.
Yeah. So there you go.
And my fan club, I have that New York fan club of mine that's still going strong. And I got an email from the head of my fan club, Mr. B.S. Flinch of Hempstead, Long Island.
Wow.
Yes, he's the head of my fan club. He's not just the head of my fan club. He's also a very struggling comedian, a noted molester, very successful molester, and a local fatso. So it says here, I'm sorry you were blocked, but let's get back to me. I have depleted all of the membership due money in order to argue successfully in court that I was not trying to molest that sleeping woman. I was just looking for ketchup in her pants. He loves ketchup. He's fat. And it says also here, oh, speaking of being blocked, can you please unblock me from your social media? I have a Zoom improv comedy show coming up this week, and I'm running out of jokes to steal. And, and
Good old BS.
yeah, and it even says, P.S. Do you know the pizza man? The man's fat. Anyway, and I even got a heads up, a thumbs up, saying that they support me from Lin-Manuel Miranda, who I've known for years. You know, he works for Disney now too, and I basically gave him the idea for the Hamilton show. Well, I didn't give him the idea for the Hamilton. I gave him the idea for the Thomas Jefferson song in the Hamilton show. Have you seen Hamilton?
Yeah, I saw it recently on was it on Prime?
Disney
No,
Plus?
on Disney Plus, right? Yes.
Yeah, well, I gave him the original version of the Hamilton song for Thomas Jefferson. It was I'm Thomas Jefferson. I'm Thomas Jefferson. I'm all the rave. I fucked my slave. I'm Thomas Jefferson. Oh, you know the song. Anyway, I've been banned, and we're gonna move on. I'm not gonna be brought down. I'm very controversial. Only 5'4". Can't help it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep moving forward and just get past it. And yeah, you're too hot for the internet. You know, some people too hot for prime time. You're too hot for the internet. You know, the review we did of Midnight Madness, you know, it was very controversial. I think when it does come out, people have to watch it and see what all the hoopla was about on that one, because it was too cool for Disney, man.
Yeah, and I'm going to say, out of protest, anybody who hasn't seen Midnight Madness, don't watch it unless you can see my review on it first. That'll teach them. I would have made such a great Scrooge McDuck. Anyway, I don't want to talk. I'm going to get all upset. And you were banned. They took off your show. By the way, anybody who's watching this, you have to understand, Don Sill is like the Ed McMahon of the podcast world. He's on the show here with me, but he has another podcast where he does the game show, and he has another podcast, just like Ed McMahon had the Tonight Show, but he had the bloopers and practical jokes and the Star Search. Don Sill is the Ed McMahon of the podcast world. So you have a podcast also that was taken off of Facebook, right?
Yeah, it was the one episode was taken down from Facebook, and we were talking about some stuff. Like I had on the show two comedians, right-wing comedians that were at the rally, the Trump rally, and yeah, there was Kevin Downey Jr. and Jessica Colazzo, and they were both there. They did not invade the Capitol building, but they were on the grounds there in D.C. along with tens of thousands of other people. But in any case, we had them on the show, and they were talking to me about their experience there. And somewhere along the way, we were taken down, and it was taken down from Facebook. It stayed on YouTube and Boxcast, and those are the other two outlets that we go through, and Spotify and all that stuff. But it was taken down from Facebook, and I think it was because we were touching on that. And as we know in the news now, there's been so much of this going on, this kind of censorship of a certain base is being silenced, and I guess it just seemed like right in the middle of this, because I also was talking about how Facebook was been taking down other people's pages, such as yours, and such. And then as I'm talking about all this, all of a sudden I get pulled down. So it just felt like I got censored by them or something. They never give a reason.
Yeah, they don't give a reason. That's the worst part. They don't even give a reason, you know? I had some reason that they put on taking down my Facebook page. I think it was too sexy or something. I don't remember. But, you know, sometimes I'm too sexy, you know. But this is all happening all the time. And I don't even do political humor, and I don't like political humor. But also, I don't like that people get banned for political humor. You know, I'm not into political jokes. I don't do that. I'm not like Bill Maher or anything like that. But I'll tell you what I'll do. Since I'm here right now and I have controversy ready, I will do a political joke for you right now, like Bill Maher.
All right, this is an exclusive.
And I very rarely give out with political humor, but I'm going to do it now, much like Bill Maher. Okay.
All
So,
right, here we
so,
go.
so you know how they have lots of political jokes, like Mart Saul was very famous in the '60s for joking about Nixon and stuff like that. So political humor doesn't really have a shelf life. So in that spirit, I have a great joke about former President Rutherford B. Hayes. Okay, so
All right.
I want to do my Rutherford B. Hayes joke, and if there are any people who love Rutherford B. Hayes, maybe you should do this for the next 30 seconds or so. Okay, but here it is, and this is as if he were president right now. Okay, and this is like a Bill Maher joke. Okay. Here in the news today that President Rutherford B. Hayes is being accused of bisexuality.
Wow, really?
Yes, the word around Washington is Rutherford B. Hayes goes both ways. Political humor, like Bill
There
Maher.
you go. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was right there. If that was back in those days, they would have went bananas over that joke. It would have been very you might have been canceled for that if this
This
happened.
episode will probably be canceled now because I did my controversial Rutherford B. Hayes joke.
Yeah, political. I mean, the politics is hotter than ever, as we know. The last 4 years have really been insane, and it's hard to avoid politics, even if you want to. It's hard to avoid it, and it's like, sometimes we do these shows and we like, all right, no politics, no COVID talk, no pandemic. It's very hard to not, because it's just such a part of our fiber these last few years, man. It's been nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, but that's the way it is, man. That's the way it is. I don't want to get myself too upset because I'm really a jolly sort of fellow. I wanted to talk to you a little bit since we have nothing but time. I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to talk to you a little bit. I did mention how you are the Ed McMahon of the podcast world, and how you have, it's not really a game show anymore, but it was a game show podcast. And why don't you talk a little bit about that? Because that's actually how we met.
Right. Yeah. So basically, the game show is called Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up, and it's a show where we take basically two newer comedians, open mic level comics, or just with a couple of years in. I think the thing was like 5 years max for the contestants, and if they were over 5 years and weren't good, like they were too good to be a contestant, we wanted newer, greener comedians. And they go through a bunch of rounds of comedy challenges, and then they were judged by three more seasoned comedians and entertainers, people that have been in the industry for a while, people that have been in comedy world for a while, whether stand-up or otherwise, and just understand the industry and understand comedy, and could be able to judge them. And not only that, but also critique them and give them advice too. So the show, to me, was always a win-win for the two contestants. There was really no losers in this game, because you're getting this valuable advice. You're getting to talk to seasoned comedians, and then you're also on the show and you're getting seen. So that said, but basically, the ultimate prize for the grand prize winner is like a tournament, basically, and that winner gets stage time on the governor's main stage. And our first winner was the comedian Mandy Jones, very funny young lady, and we have yet, because of the pandemic, been able to get her prize and get her on stage. So hopefully, once it open back up again, we'll get it out there.
And we met because
we met. So I literally, I would see you on like the Long Island, all the groups, and you would post "Tune in the Goonans."
which is
And one time,
my web series.
Your web series. So I watched one of them. I think I watched the trailer first. Like the trailer has like a 2-minute, 3-minute long trailer, kind of a synopsis of everything. And I got a kick out of you, and I got a kick out of the show. I thought it was really good, and I thought it was really funny. So then I got in touch with you and invited you onto the show. And then
I was
afterwards,
a
I found
judge.
out. Yeah, and you became a judge. You were a judge on the show.
The greatest judge.
You were definitely a great judge, a fun judge. You sang for us on your first episode.
I didn't sing the Thomas Jefferson song. What was I going to say? I was a judge 3 times on your show when you had the game show. I was a judge for you 3 times, and
Yeah.
I probably was the judge, the most consistent judge, like who came back 3 times. I don't know how many episodes you had altogether, but of the game show, because after the pandemic started and everything shut down, your show then became a remote show, and it wasn't a game show anymore. It was more of like interviews and stuff like that. And
Right. Yeah.
I've been on that one lots of times too, where I give my review of my favorite pornographies and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have to get another porno review.
Yeah,
But yeah, you've been on both shows.
I want to stop for 1 second and just really, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but I would have made a great Scrooge McDuck.
You definitely method. You definitely were method.
And that is what I look like with no pants. Anyway.
That's why I always tell people.
Yeah, but so yeah, so you had that game show going on, and I guess it'll come back when the pandemic comes back. I was going to ask you, that show got very controversial at times. I was involved in controversial things there. There were controversial people. He's laughing. He knows what I'm going to talk about. It's controversial people that were involved. People who got mad that they lost, mad that they weren't going to win. These were people who proved in their reaction to losing that they were indeed newcomers.
As the stakes got higher, people started to take it more seriously. We had a few of the comedians where, when you lose, it's tough. It burns. And there were.
I felt fine, but I was just the judge.
But there were a few comedians that weren't necessarily happy to have lost or agreed with the judges or whatever, but there was that one case that was the worst of them all, and it was mainly because of the aftermath, the follow-up. It was some people just have an entitled sense about things, and
right.
When things don't go their way, man, they are going to shake the fences, and that's what happened, and it's kind of sad in a way,
Oh, I found it hilarious. The contestant who you're talking about who lost, was friendly with me and knew me like, in an ancillary way, and then immediately unfanned me, unfriended me, blocked me as if they were Disney or something. And they unblocked me and everything like that. And went off on a tangent, and even tried to concoct an idea that my negative voting had to do with some sort of romantic pursuit that I had. It was very interesting. It was great because you know what it is that person, was, let's say, not the youngest person in the world, and when she was originally telling jokes, it was back when she had fins and she had just come out of the ocean. But those jokes don't sometimes hold up in modern day world with electricity and stuff. Back when she had fins and she was just coming out of the ocean, she was very popular then. The amoeba used to think she was very witty. So she never really wrote any new material since then, The funny thing about it is that the comedians who lost in the competition, some of them had very strange gripes about it. I talked to another person who lost on one of those shows. Actually, was the winner of that night when the Finn lost. And her gripe was that you can't criticize people's jokes. So it's a comedy contest. You're supposed to be able to criticize people's jokes. It's a very weird particular, but it's great when people are sore losers, because sometimes they're funnier that way than they could ever be in their material.
Yeah, I think that being critiqued and taking a critique and critiquing are necessary in all mediums of art. You need to know how you're doing. You need to know where you can improve on. You need to know what worked and what didn't work. You can't constantly be getting positive affirmation.
You'll never improve.
Sometimes, right. Sometimes you need somebody to tell you, hey, that wasn't funny, or hey, more of this, less of that, or and
that
you
contestant was so old that I really wasn't critiquing, I was antiquing.
Pinocchio. Oh man. Oh shit.
Yeah, man. There's a certain type of Italian in Long Island that is not like they're still stuck in like the IROC Z era of Italian. Like they have names that you go, what? When you get people who are like in their 50s or older and they're still, trying to be like the Sopranos, you want to take them aside and go, look, I like that show. But those people, the characters in the Sopranos, they're bad people. You're not supposed to want to be like them. They're bad.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I like. Everybody I went to high school with, that's it. So like I got lots of great friends. One of my closest friends is Matt Lucetti, and that's an Italian name. That had the Paratis lived next door, the Paciulis across the street.
That sounds like desserts. Hey, are we going to dinner? Yeah, make sure we get some patchouli. Make sure we get some Paratis. My favorite thing is dumb people who think they're smart. I had a friend in Brooklyn named Brian, and we used to call him Dummy Brian because he was dumber than dirt. But he thought he was smart. He thought he was clever. And he wanted to be like me. Like if I made a funny voicemail, he would repeat my voicemail for his phone. If I was hanging out with him and I said something funny, he would wait until we were around people, and then he'd say it himself as if it was his, But he was dumber than dirt. I'm going to give you 3 examples of how he's dumb. And these are absolutely true. And they're going to go up in levels because as he tries to be more smart, you're going to see how stupid he is. The first time, I've always told him how I loved German Shepherds. I think they're beautiful dogs. We're walking down the street. We see a German Shepherd dog. I go, that's a beautiful dog. He goes, that's not complete German Shepherd. That's a Park Canine. That's one. Second time, it's the early November, and he's planning his schedule for the month of November, but it's early November, and he's going, okay, and I think Thanksgiving falls on a Sunday this year. I go, wait a minute. Thanksgiving always falls on a Thursday. And he goes, yeah? Like I'm stupid. He goes, what? I go, you don't know that? You don't even have to be smart to know that. You just have to remember last year and every other year that you've been alive. Like Thanksgiving always falls on a Thursday. That's 2. I'll give you the third one. This is the best. This is when he tried to be funny. I can't remember the scenario that brought this about, but I like racial jokes. I like racial humor. There's nothing wrong with racial jokes. So I'm not saying that he's saying something racist, but in his zeal to make a racial joke, he just showed how stupid he was. I don't remember what the setup was, but then he said, and this is in a social funny situation, but he says this to me. He goes, yeah, that's why Hitler went to Israel to get all those Jews. I said, wait a minute. I said, there are so many things wrong with what you said. He goes, what do you mean? I said, first of all, Hitler was not alive when there was an Israeli state. He goes, yeah? Like I'm stupid, yeah? Then how did he get all those Jews? There are Jews all over the world. You never heard of Poland and Europe? He's like, yeah, there's Jews in Poland? The guy was stupid. The guy's the dumbest. He's now head of a big company now.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, dreams can come true for anybody. Even the dumbest people who don't know anything about anything could become the head of a company.
Yeah, the last time I saw him, he was screeching his car at a blinking red light. He thought it was... Anyway. All right, everybody. This has been the Great Goonan Podcast. Please notice how good I would have been as Scrooge McDuck. Probably just from showing that Disney band this episode, too. All right, everybody. All I want to do is a zoom, zoom, and a boom, boom. I'll see you guys later. The Great Goonan, Mr. John Sill.
Yeah, peace, everybody.
We are out.
sick in the head.